When my sister died, I came into the possession of her Facebook account. That sounds a bit weird now that I've said it. To be honest, I'm probably not the first person who should have access to her account. Logically, that honor should go to her husband, Ted, if it goes to anyone at all. The thing is, nobody knows that I have access to the account. She gave me her password, 6 years ago? She had asked me to log in and check something for her on my computer. I can't remember what exactly. It's one of those little memories that seemed unimportant at the time, but I miss dreadfully now. A million little interactions and words and smiles between us, and I'll never remember most of them. But I digress. Anyway, the password. About a week after she died, I tried the password on a whim. I figured she must have changed it at some point within the last 6 years. But to my surprise, I was granted access right away. Honestly, Annalise, she never was very good with cybersecurity. I know I shouldn't have gone into her account. I get that, I really do. Even if she is dead, it's an invasion of privacy. Not just for her, but for everyone else. But I had just lost one of the most beloved people in my life, and I was grieving. To me, it seemed okay at the time. It seemed justified. And besides, it's not like anyone had to know. I set her status to offline so nobody would see that I had logged in. I spent so many sleepless nights looking through her Facebook. At the group she was a part of. At the pages she liked. At the photos she posted. It quickly became an unhealthy addiction. Not that I cared. I was desperate for some kind of connection with her. Anything at all. And so much of her life was cataloged online. For me, it was the perfect poison. To my great shame, I eventually began to go through her inbox. If it makes it any better, and I know it doesn't, there wasn't anything groundbreaking or terrible in her messages. Annalise was the type of person who preferred talking to people in person, as opposed to over text. Most of it was pretty mundane, sharing pictures of her little ankle-biter dog with our cousin Sam, ironing out details to a party invite with a group of college friends, planning a last-minute trip to see her best friend Frida. That last one hurt a little to read. They were set to meet up just a few days after Annalise's accident. Their messages were tense and curt, as though they had just gotten into a fight. Frida had seemed so distressed at the funeral, crying that Annalise would never forgive her. It must have been hard. Her best friend dying without making up for whatever stupid argument they were having. I imagine that type of thing stays with a person. Forever. It's funny how we always think we have time. The day of the accident, I was actually at the pharmacy picking up some pills for my sister at her request. Her anemia was back, and her arms had been bruising up like crazy. She had been feeling a little down lately, so I was in the candy aisle, deciding I should pick her up some sweets to cheer her up. And that's when I got the call. My sister. My stupid, clumsy, lovely sister. It wouldn't have been the first time she fell down the stairs. That actually happened a lot to her as a kid. But this was her last. Because this time, she was unlucky. This time, she broke her neck at the bottom of the stairs. Annalise died instantly. The memory of that awful moment, standing in the pharmacy, my mouth hanging open in a scream that seemed to have died somewhere deep inside my chest. It all flashed vividly in my brain and my face crumpled as I sat there, reading Frida's message over and over again. It wasn't fair. She didn't deserve to go out like that. Tears were beginning to stream down my face when Annalise received a new message. It wasn't rare for people to send new messages to Annalise's Facebook page. Most of it was clearly sent in a state of grief, people wishing she hadn't gone, wishing they had had more time. I didn't read any of these messages. To be honest, that felt like too much of an invasion. Plus, they just reminded me of the fact that my sister wasn't coming home. And weirdly enough, that was what I was trying to avoid by scouring her Facebook all the time. But something was different about this one. This message was from Ted. Before I could close out the window, I read the first line. It said, "Why did things have to be that way?" Visions of Ted flashed in my mind from the funeral. How pale he had been. How shaky. Like he was dying underneath his grief. Like he had no one to share it with, although we all tried. Ignoring that little voice in the back of my mind, I kept reading. Why did things have to be that way? It didn't have to happen like that. You have nobody to blame but yourself. And I'm just so angry with you. We could have worked things out. We could have made it work. I love you. Even in our worst moments, you knew that. How could you not? I did everything for you. Gave everything for you. But you were so ungrateful. You know I didn't mean it. I just got so angry. You do that to me, you know. You make me so angry. And it hurt me, too, to do that. You have no idea how bad I felt about it the next day. And besides, that fight nearly broke my hand. You aren't the only one that came out hurt. I wish you'd listened. I wish you hadn't tried to run. You thought I wouldn't find out about your plans with Frida? You thought that you'd be safe with her. What a joke. You knew you were safe with me. I just lose my temper sometimes. Who doesn't? You're supposed to love me, and that means loving everything about me. Or were those marriage vows just a lie? It's all your fault. It's your fault for leaving your phone open so I could read those messages. It's your fault for hurting me when you knew that I was already in pain. It's your fault for making me so angry that I did something to hurt you again. Don't you understand? It's your fault. And now you've been punished for it. As I read the messages, I became increasingly ill. Slowly, a picture started to form in my mind. A picture that made my heart rate pick up and my jaw hang open. No. Before I had time to react further, another message came in. What the fuck? Who the hell is reading this? Oh no. I had forgotten that by clicking on the message, it sent a red message notification. In a panic, I shut my computer down, backing away from it like it was toxic. It took me a few hours to process what I had seen, to try to understand it. But by the time I did, by the time I realized what Ted had done to my sister, I knew what I had to do. I took screenshots of the conversation and went down to the police station. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning and they were surprised to see me, of course. But they were very interested in what I brought in. The police started the search for Ted immediately. Unsurprisingly, he wasn't in their home. He was gone, along with his wallet and all of his personal identification. They stopped to talk to Frida too, and she told them everything. About how they had been planning to get her away from him, to hide her until she could get a divorce finalized. Frida wanted to talk to me, but I refused. I have nothing to say to her for not coming forward earlier. The police think their prospects of catching him are pretty good. He'll most certainly have to use a credit or debit card along the way, which will help them pinpoint his location. As for me, I'm hoping they don't find him. Because if they find him, then he'll be at the mercy of the law, and I've decided that the law is pretty lenient, especially in these parts. If Ted even gets convicted, and that's a big if, he might get life in prison, and life in prison is too good for scum like him. The police have started their search. Well, I've started one of my own, and I'm not stopping until I find him and get justice for my family, for my sister, for Annalise. And I won't stop until he's drowning in his own rotten blood.